Welcome to Seeing Science Structures, a vocabulary-rich supplement designed to bridge the gap from hands-on learning to mandated testing in just a few minutes each day. In a hurry? Skip ahead to any of these time markers to jump to that chapter. Don't worry, I won't mind. What is Seeing Science Structures? Seeing Science Structures is a daily supplemental science program that focuses on building vocabulary understanding. It fits in with any curriculum you're teaching and can be structured to go in the same sequence as your current science units. It was written and created to reinforce common terms that often get memorized by rote for testing and quickly forgotten. By utilizing key symbols and thinking activities, students can put terms to use during lab time and have references to remember at test time, thus truly bridging the gap between lab and test. So, you're the proud new owner of Seeing Science Structures. Great! In order to use the program, though, you're going to need access to the digital dashboard provided by Lone Star Learning. Getting there is easy. From the Lone Star Learning website, click on Subscriber Login at the top of the page. This will take you to the login screen where you'll need to enter your login information. This should have been sent to you by email when your account was created. If you're unsure of your details though, please contact your local administrator who has access to your information or email info@lonestarlearning.com. Once you've signed in, you will be on the digital dashboard. Any Lone Star Learning programs you purchased will be located here. For now, we are only focused on Seeing Science Structures, so go ahead and select Use Program to continue to the next step. Seeing Science Structures includes 36 units of material covering each of the concepts specified in the 2018 Streamlined TEKS, that is, Earth Science, Life Science, Physical Science, and the Ways of Science. Each of these concepts is given a color to easily categorize the material. Clicking any of these color-coded titles will isolate those subjects so you can focus on material that covers only those sciences. Units can be rearranged to correspond with your hands-on curriculum by dragging them into position and then dropping them into place. If you need to see where the unit originated, there are unit numbers located to the right of each title. Should you need to reset all the units to the default though, there is an option located in the Settings panel. Simply go to Settings and then select Reset Menu. Oh, and one last note about the main menu. As you progress through each unit, a white check mark will be added next to its title. This is to indicate that you've covered that unit and to mark your progress throughout the school year. This white check mark or progress marker also appears on the unit screen, which we will cover shortly. As before, if you need to reset the white check marks, navigate to the Settings menu and instead of Reset Menu, you will need to select Reset Progress. Before continuing to the units themselves, however, we should go ahead and download the printable materials. Along the bottom of the screen to the left, there's a menu item labeled Printable Materials. Clicking this gives you access to multiple PDFs that contain material to be used alongside the program. The Quick Start and Teaching Guide PDF gives you a more detailed written explanation of the program and its inner workings. It's suggested that you print this file and keep it nearby for your reference. The Concept Builder and ThinkSheet PDFs should be downloaded and printed to hand out to students throughout the year. We'll cover these in more detail when we talk about the units. The Posters PDF contains posters you can print out and display on the wall. It also has a miniature version for students to keep on hand in their science notebooks, which brings us to the next file, the Notebook PDF. The Notebook PDF contains everything you need to create the science notebook, which will hold all the materials your students will need throughout the school year. Print this one out and hand out copies to each of the students so that they can build their own notebooks. And to help with that, here is a handy step-by-step guide on building the notebook. Oh, and feel free to pause here and play the video back for your class.
You will need a printed copy of the Seeing Science Structures cover page, colored tabs, and content pages, a 3-ring binder, any color will work, a hole punch, scissors, tape or glue, and writing utensil. Take the Seeing Science Structures cover page and write your name on it at the top. Then slip the page into the front of your 3-ring binder. Take the miniature version of the Seeing Science Structures posters and place them in the pocket on the inside of your notebook. You can also cut them out and glue them to the inside cover. Punch holes into the sides of the content pages. Cut the colored tabs page into individual columns. Each student should get one column of tabs. Carefully cut along the dotted lines and avoid cutting along the solid line. Take your tabs and fold them along the solid lines to create individual colored tabs. Find the content page and a number on the tab that match. Glue or tape both sides down to make a nice solid tab. Repeat until all tabs are made. Place the pages into your science notebook. Cut the spine slip to fit your notebook, then glue or tape it to the edge of your notebook. All done! Your science notebook is ready to be used throughout the school year. Remember that as you complete your concept builders and your think sheets, that you should be putting them into the science notebook under the right tab. When you go to add it, look at the bottom left corner of your concept builder or think sheet. It's going to have earth science, life science, physical science, or the ways of science in the footer. Find the matching tab and place it under that section. Now get out there and learn the magic of science.
Alright, that should cover it. Now, back to the tutorial. With all the printables out of the way and the science notebooks created, let me explain the unit portion of the program. This is the unit screen. Located along the bottom right hand side of the screen, you will see buttons for each activity you can display here. These are the core vocabulary journal, the concept builders, and the think sheets. Don't worry, we'll go over each of these in detail in just a moment, but for now, note the core vocabulary journal is the first item to be displayed by default. This is because we recommend doing your vocabulary first to reinforce the vocabulary used later in both the concept builder and the student think sheet. Should you want to start with a different activity though, you can select another in the same settings panel we used before to reset the progress, which on the unit screen is indicated by this gear icon. You need only select it, and then click on the activity you would like to be your default. On the left, you'll see a list of words. This is a vocabulary list. These words will be used throughout the unit you are on and are an important part of the core vocabulary journal. Also, if you need to access a single unit's material, there is a Printables button off to the left. Unlike the one we used on the unit selection screen, this one will only download the relevant think sheet and concept builder for the unit you have open. This is the core vocabulary journal. The core vocabulary system helps students make connections and understand relationships of core concepts that are consistent throughout science. Now, there are going to be two types of vocabulary that will be covered. There is standard vocabulary, which will only have the word and its definition, and there will be core vocabulary, which will have the word, its definition, and a symbol indicating what concept it is categorized under. Let's go ahead and define those concepts. Cycle. A cycle is an event or a series of events that happens the same way over and over again. Make note of how the symbol's arrows make a circular pattern to reinforce this concept. Process. A process is an event that has steps. Generally, a process requires raw materials or conditions in order to happen. A process typically produces a product or condition. Note how the symbol looks like a pair of steps. Energy. Energy is defined as the ability to do work. Energy makes changes in matter. Although it is invisible, it is dynamic and makes visible changes. This symbol incorporates a dynamic lightning bolt. Model. A model is a representation of a thing or event. The parts of a model stand for the parts of the real thing. All models have advantages and limitations. This symbol is a globe, a common model of our own planet Earth. Force. A force is defined as a push or pull. Forces can operate in any direction. Forces can change the position, direction, or speed of things. With that in mind, the force symbol has arrows pointing and pulling in directions away from the center. Process skill. Process skills are the doing part of science. They're the things scientists and children do to answer questions and solve problems. As such, the symbol incorporates the previous process icon and adds an SK or SK to distinguish it from the broader concept of process. System. A system is a collection of parts, structures, cycles, and processes that interact. The parts of a system are the easiest to identify. Identifying cycles requires more information and understanding. Identifying processes is the most difficult, as processes involve interactions. Note the addition of the P to indicate that a system has parts as well as cycles and processes. Still with me? Good. Okay, now, to use the core vocabulary journal, click a vocabulary word to view the definition, then discuss the definition with your class. If it is a core vocabulary word, indicated by a symbol, then you will need to select the matching concept from the list underneath. Once there, drag and drop the word into the journal. Have your students write these core vocabulary words in their science notebooks that we created earlier. By the end of the year, you should have a large collection of organized vocabulary words to review and discuss with your class. And don't worry about having to re-add words in the program, as it remembers any changes to the journal after you've closed the program and between units. Concept Builder is a student-friendly note-taking tool used to review and reinforce vocabulary related to the student's hands-on experience. Work through the Concept Builder activities with your class, reviewing vocabulary as needed. You can navigate between different activities such as word webs and draw and label by clicking the buttons located under the Concept Builders. Use the annotation tools to make notes and to fill out material, or use the Show Answer button to fill in the answer automatically. Your students should fill out their printable Concept Builder at the same time, taking down notes to reference later. These can also be done alone, in peer groups, or with one-on-one assistance. Once completed, each concept builder is placed in the 3-ring notebook under the appropriate section. Which section is that? It's the concept labeled in the footer. Have your students match the name of the concept on their printables, then hole punch and add it into the notebook at the back of that section. Students can then use them to help fill out the student think sheet, or for review and study. Think sheets are numbered 1 through 5 and may be completed one at a time, Monday through Friday, or all in a single session. As students work through the material, they should be recording their answers and adding their sheets to the science notebook in the same manner as the concept builders. Have students formulate questions based on observations and give them opportunities to test their hypotheses. If your students are not quite ready for independent study, you can pose questions for them and direct the flow of information. This process repeats itself until the unit or topic is exhausted. We understand that not all teachers or students are ready to plunge into pure inquiry learning. In addition, not all teachers have access to materials or classroom settings that make planning for inquiry learning easy. If this style of learning is not comfortable, we advise using a more hands-on approach. That said, using an inquiry learning method will strengthen your students' ability to learn and motivate themselves, paving way for them to learn science because they are curious and wish to know more. And that's everything. Keep in mind that Seeing Science Structures is very flexible, so if you have your own ideas on how to use the content, please experiment. We believe there is no wrong way to inform your students of the importance of science. If you have any questions about Seeing Science Structures, refer to the printable Quick Start Guide or contact us at info@lonestarlearning.com. Bridge the gap between your great hands-on curriculum and testing with Seeing Science Structures. Just a few minutes each day can make a big difference.